Imagine waking up one morning, rolling over in bed, and the entire world starts spinning. Not metaphorically, literally. The ceiling lurches, the floor tilts. Your body screams that it's falling, even though you haven't moved an inch. You grab the mattress, you close your eyes, and still, it spins. This isn't a scene from a horror film. This is the daily reality for hundreds of millions of people around the world living with vertigo. And for too long, medicine has had far too few answers. But that is beginning to change. Vertigo is not simply dizziness. It is not lightheadedness or the brief head rush you get when you stand up too fast. Vertigo is characterized by a spinning sensation caused by vestibular issues, a precise and often debilitating misfiring between the inner ear and the brain. Some people only experience mild vertigo attacks that last for a few seconds and don't affect everyday life. However, others may experience debilitating, long-lasting attacks that affect their ability to work and enjoy life to the fullest. Vertigo affects millions and carries high personal and economic costs. Standard care works for many, but leaves a significant gap for chronic sufferers. This is the story of that gap, and the remarkable science now working to close it. Vertigo is far more common than most people realize. It is the most common balance disorder in the world. Benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, known as BPPV, accounts for approximately 17 to 42% of all patients presenting with vertigo in clinical settings, making it the most common form of vestibular peripheral vertigo globally. The economic scale is staggering. The global vertigo treatment market was valued at nearly $2 billion in 2024 and is projected to grow steadily to over $3 billion by 2033, driven by an expanding elderly population and rising awareness of vestibular disorders. Asia-Pacific is forecast to emerge as a particularly significant market, with aging populations in Japan, China, and India driving surging demand for vertigo treatment. Pharma is responding to this global crisis. In February 2026, Pfizer announced expanded clinical trials for a next-generation vestibular disorder therapy targeting chronic vertigo, with a focus on improving balance restoration and reducing dizziness episodes in elderly patients. That same month, Novartis invested in advanced research for vertigo-related neurological treatments through its global R&D centers, targeting vestibular migraines and Meniere's disease, highlighting growing pharmaceutical interest in precision medicine for balance disorders. The message from the global medical community is clear. This condition has been underestimated for too long. The message from the global medical community is clear. This condition has been underestimated for too long. So, what actually causes vertigo? The answer often begins in a place most people never think about: tiny calcium crystals inside your inner ear. Inside your ears are semicircular canals that detect motion and relay information to your brain. Nearby is the utricle, which contains calcium crystals called canaliths that detect movement. Sometimes these crystals become dislodged and begin sending incorrect signals to your brain. That is when you feel as though everything around you is spinning. But not all vertigo originates in the inner ear. Causes can be peripheral, and such as BPPV or vestibular neuritis, which typically carry a good prognosis. Or they can be central, linked to cerebrovascular disease, tumors, or demyelinating conditions, which often carry far worse outcomes if not diagnosed promptly. This distinction matters enormously, and for decades it has been frustratingly difficult to make quickly. Despite substantial healthcare expenditure, diagnostic accuracy for vertigo has remained suboptimal, with many patients undergoing extensive testing without timely identification. This is where 2025 and 2026 represent a genuine turning point. Artificial intelligence is entering the diagnostic process, and the early results are striking. AI-driven analysis of high-resolution MRI scans can now highlight subtle lesions in the vestibular organs that human radiologists may miss. In a blinded test of 1,200 scans, one algorithm correctly identified vestibular schwannomas with 96% accuracy, cutting diagnostic time from weeks to days. Machine learning models have also been designed to distinguish BPPV from other vestibular conditions, including Meniere's disease and vestibular migraine. Using standard clinical variables, but with researchers even developing mobile applications that could allow easy self-assessment for patients experiencing dizziness. On the treatment side, the once simple story of vertigo management is expanding rapidly. New tools are emerging. New infrared goggles have been designed to help clinicians determine precisely whether vertigo originates in the inner ear or the brain. a distinction that determines the entire course of treatment. And then there is neuromodulation, arguably the most exciting frontier today. A 2024 multi-center study on vestibular implant prototypes reported a 60% reduction in vertigo frequency after 6 months. Researchers are now integrating AI algorithms to adapt stimulus patterns in real time, turning a static implant into a smart balance regulator. Virtual reality therapy is also proving to be far more than a gadget. VR intervention as a vestibular rehabilitation tool improves both objective parameters and subjective scales. The roadmap ahead is ambitious. First-generation vestibular implants are projected to enter the market between 2027 and 2028, while integrated VR rehabilitation platforms are expected to become standard in outpatient clinics by 2029 to 2030. This is not a niche medical story. Vertigo disproportionately affects the elderly, a population growing faster than any other demographic. A fall caused by a sudden vertigo episode can mean a broken hip, a loss of independence. For working adults, it means missed days and psychological burden. Non-invasive therapies are gaining traction as medication-free alternatives that efficiently manage symptoms while improving quality of life. The old model, I'd prescribe medication, wait, hope, is being replaced by a precision approach. Diagnose faster, target smarter, rehabilitate with technology.